So good afternoon to all of you and welcome to this conference. You are all welcome, and this is the first in physical real format, but it's the 8th conference of the ESRB. And the theme that has been selected this year is New Frontiers in Macroprudential Policy. And that theme challenges us to rethink the ways in which we ensure financial stability in an evolving world. Traditionally, as you all know well, macroprudential policy has focused on safeguarding the stability of banks, particularly in addressing the boom-bust cycles, and particularly in real estate, and even more specifically, recently in commercial real estate. Banks continue to hold significant exposures to the real estate sector, and this remains a core area of our oversight. But today, the world is undergoing some swift and profound changes. And while we must remain alert as ever to cyclical risks, major structural transformations, from shifting geopolitics, more on this later on, to a changing climate and to extraordinary advances in technology. All these major transformations are creating new frontiers in macroprudential policy. And these have important implications for financial stability that are not yet fully reflected in our current framework. So today, what I would like to do is focus on one of these frontiers, and I'm going to talk a little bit about technology and what it means for the financial system, and by extension, the potential response that we can give from a macroprudential point of view. And I will quote one of the Nobel laureates, not economics, wasn't Nobel anyway for the economics, but peace. Christian Lange observed, and I quote, "Technology can be a useful servant, but it can also be a dangerous master if left unchecked." That observation, which Einstein actually must have made as well, holds true for the financial system, where technological advances pose both sizable opportunities but also significant risks. In this setting, macroprudential policy needs to pull off this unique balancing act. To effectively mitigate the risks posed by new technologies, macroprudential policy must paradoxically embrace and harness the very innovation they create. So can technology be an enabler for modern financial systems? The basic needs that financial systems meet have remained the same pretty much all along. Saving for future needs, borrowing against future income, directing capital to productive users, and reallocating risks. But the way financial systems deliver their services has changed radically, driven largely by advances in technology and in the management of information, data, and the way they're communicated. In recent decades, powerful computing has revolutionized risk management and boosted market efficiency, enabling the pricing of complex financial instruments and the rise of algorithmic trading. One study, for example, finds that by facilitating faster price discovery, algorithmic trading improves liquidity for large cap stocks. Another key enabler of modern finance is encryption technology. Without encryption technology, there would be no online banking and no electronic payments. But encryption has not only aided the digitalization of traditional finance, it has also facilitated the rise of new asset class and a parallel financial system: crypto assets and decentralized finance. The problems with crypto assets are many, well documented, and not always well addressed, from weak fundamentals to questionable governance and inefficient validation methods. But the encryption technology on which crypto assets are based has so far proven robust. And DLT can offer real benefits to our financial systems through the streamlining of processes and the proper identification. But it is perhaps artificial intelligence that may prove to be the most transformative to the financial system. What's new here? For years, analytical AI models designed to perform specific tasks have helped you and financial institutions in areas such as fraud detection, credit assessment, predicting portfolio returns. But the recent breakthroughs in generative AI, thanks to growth in computing power combined with extensive data access and a lot of energy consumption, by the way, are inducing a rapid uptake of AI across the board. According to one recent international study, almost 2/3 of companies across all regions, sectors, and sizes are already using generative AI. 2/3. And while new technologies have brought tremendous benefits for the financial system over time, they have always tended to carry potential risks with them. And we see this tension between opportunity and risk playing out today. The latest AI models and budding technologies like quantum computing have the potential to exert a profound impact on our economies and financial systems. So let's have a look at some of those technological changes and the vulnerabilities that they cause. As a tool, technology is neither good nor bad. It all depends on who uses it and for what purpose. The financial sector will come up with numerous ways to use AI to improve existing operations. But the reliance on ever more sophisticated technologies, which typically demand high specialized skills and enormous levels of investment to implement and maintain, creates in and of itself new vulnerabilities in our financial system. We see this especially in areas where our financial institutions are increasingly reliant on a small number of external service providers. Just think about it and consider what those suppliers are. I bet you that it's a handful, maybe 2 more, but that's the crowd of suppliers that most of you are probably using. In July, a faulty software update from a leading cybersecurity firm caused worldwide computer outages and severe disruptions across many sectors, including finance. For instance, over 8 million devices operating Microsoft Windows were hit simultaneously around the world. And while the disruption did not last long, the episode demonstrated the potential danger of a broad-based reliance on a small number of third-party providers. These technology firms may have systemic importance and are a key determinant of the Digital Operational Resilience Act and EU microprudential legislation. This concentration risk is further heightened in an environment marked by geopolitical tensions and the rapid uptake of AI. Hostile states could wreak havoc if they uncover just one critical weakness in our financial system. At the ESRB, we expected intensified cyber attacks following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Fortunately, the financial system has proven resilient so far, but the risk remains. The widespread adoption of AI may also have systemic implications for the financial system. For example, if AI suppliers were to remain concentrated, operational risks, market concentration, and too-big-to-fail externalities may arise as a result. Moreover, an extensive uptake of AI could increase the potential for herding behavior. So looking further ahead, advances in quantum computing may pose a serious threat to our encryption-based financial system. That technology may even go on to eventually break current encryption methods, although it is difficult today, at this point, to know exactly what might happen. And this is why it is critical to start preparing early, and there are already efforts to be undertaken. In August this year, for example, the National Institute of Standards and Technology in the United States finalized the first post-quantum encryption standards and called for their rapid development. Efforts by individual financial institutions will not be enough. The shift to post-quantum encryption standards will need to be implemented across the economy to ensure sufficient resilience. So what does that mean for macroprudential policy? As policymakers, our primary role is to ensure that the financial system remains stable and resilient in the face of emerging threats. And as I said, historically, macroprudential policy has focused heavily on cyclical risks and particular sectors. But as we look into the future, we need to pay more attention to major structural changes. Technologies such as AI and quantum computing will reshape the financial landscape in ways we are just only beginning to grasp. Macroprudential policy must evolve to meet these new frontiers. The risks stemming from disruptive technologies will not be confined to individual institutions. They will be systemic. But the tools we have relied on in the past may no longer be sufficient. Larger buffer are not always the right answer, and they're not necessarily the only answer. So our task is to focus on how technological risks affect the interconnections and the vulnerabilities across the entire financial system, and ask ourselves how we need to expand our toolkit. The answer is for macroprudential authorities to harness the power of new technologies, using the new opportunities they create as a force for good to mitigate the risks that technology may pose to the financial system. There is substantial potential on this front. AI can give us the capability to analyze vast amounts of supervisory and market data, and it can help us conduct more rigorous risk assessments to identify vulnerabilities faster and ensure timely prudential responses to new threats. We will need to consider a broader range of potentially disruptive scenarios and improve our capacity to model the financial stress that such scenarios can generate. The available data allows us to go a long way, but we need to go even further and remove obstacles to safe data sharing. In my capacity as chair of the ESRB, I have recently called on European lawmakers to facilitate the removal of barriers to safe data sharing between the ESRB and European supervisory authorities. It's a crucial step towards enabling us to use data to their full potential, not to concentrate and take ownership of data, but to share it, to use it for the benefit of all. At the same time, we need to enhance our collaboration across institutions, sharing insight and expertise so that we can collectively tackle the challenges ahead. By embracing technology, the role of macroprudential policy will be to help microprudential supervision to stay ahead of the curve, ensuring financial institutions are not only compliant with today's rules, but are also resilient to tomorrow's threats. So, as we are tackling risks, cyclical risks, macroprudential policy at the new frontier centers on being proactive rather than reactive. Policymakers cannot afford to simply respond to crises as they emerge. We must continuously attempt to anticipate them, harnessing the power of technology and data to build a financial system that is truly resilient. As Benjamin Franklin once wrote, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure." He knew what he was talking about. Remember, Benjamin Franklin was widely credited for developing and popularizing the use of the lightning rod, which would go on to prevent many disasters. So looking at this conference agenda, I'm confident that the discussions will spark fresh perspectives and innovative ideas as we explore the new frontiers of macroprudential policies. And I thank you for your attention.